freshman Sherrod Coble? I mean, where is he in his development, and do you think he could play more?
Oh, yeah, he may have to. We just haven't, he's played special teams and he's played some, but, with Mickens and JP and Makuba, they've kind of, carried and Tyler, that's kind of been it's just where we are, those veteran guys. And Coble's going to be a great player, but now with Tyler out, that gives him a little more opportunity for sure, and we'll need him to be ready.
Are there any freshmen you've kind of been saving that maybe down the stretch you want to use that haven't used all their games?
Cole Turner. I mean, we've been holding him. We've kept him with us all year. I was just telling Nolan, this kid is going to be a great player. These three freshman receivers, man. I mean, between Adam and Antonio and Cole, I'm really, really excited about them. Just who they are, how they work, just how natural it is for them to play the game. Going to be fun to coach these guys for a few years. But Cole's a guy we've saved all his games, and you'll see him start to play some down the stretch here. Special teams, receiver, you name it, just a little here and there. We'll work him in, but really excited about him. And then we've got a couple other guys. We've got some guys that have played 3 games, like Robert Gunn, that we'd like to hold. So at this point, unless something happened to BT, all bets are off. But if everything stays status quo, then he's a guy. We got one more game with him. I think T.J. Dudley. We got maybe 2 more games with him. So we've got some guys that kind of fit in there that we could use if we need.
I know Sadler played.
Sadler, same thing. Yeah, we're gonna hold Sadler. He missed a couple games, and we didn't get him in a few games, and then he was out for a couple games, injury. So then we kind of made that decision. All right, well, let's try to hold him if we can. So that's kind of where we are. So, but we've still got at least 2 games with him, I think. But we keep up with all that. We've got it all on our board in there, what we can and can't do, and talk about it each week, and we go in each game.
Last week you said you were looking for some alpha dogs on defense. Did Jeremiah and Barrett provide some affirmative answers on that?
Roof. Yeah, I mean, the boys were barking. That was what you're looking for. Guys were awesome. Yeah, that's what we needed. And I thought Trotter set the tone. I mean, he set the tone from a physicality standpoint. Barrett was everywhere. I mean, his intensity, his relentless pursuit. I mean, it was great. I mean, those guys did a good job. I thought all the guys up front really brought it, and did a good job on the back end. I thought Nate, I didn't even know he had a big missed tackle on a hitch, but man, I thought he had probably his most physical game. All those guys. I mean, it was a very hard hitting physical game, and that's the way it should be. But I thought Trotter, and again, this is a first-year starter. He's a true sophomore. He's growing into his own. He's gaining his confidence as far as being the leader. And that was a big game for him. I think you'll see him continue to go. Same thing with Barrett and then Wood. He's a young guy in there, but man, he don't flinch. Mickens is a tough physical guy. So it's a good group, and again, that's how we got to play. And those guys stepped up and did a good job.
I know you said at one point the plan was for DJ to move on after the season, or he was hoping to, but I don't think he's listed on the senior day honor. Do you know what his plan is?
Well, I mean, he's graduating in December, but I don't think that's something that he just don't think he wanted to be honored on senior day. I don't think he wanted to deal with all the process of it, and he's not he's not worried about any of that stuff. He's just worried about beating Miami. That's what he's worried about, which is what he should be worried about.
It's going back to football. Obviously, Bill was obviously in that recruiting class with him. Is a very highly rated guy. I mean, what does it say about Phil that he was willing to come along with Will, and then obviously you have the red shirt last year you tried to do and it doesn't happen?
No, I mean, they're roommates. They're great friends. They're close. I mean, I think it's just the norm in college football. I mean, heck, you look at some of these teams, they sign 3 film offers in every class, it seems. So I think all these guys know, that it's not going to just be one back, really anywhere. I mean, rarely do you see that. Most of these teams play multiple backs. The great teams, the teams that are very successful in the end, they've got multiple backs. And so, you even see that mostly at the NFL too. So I think, he knew he wanted to come to Clemson. He loved Clemson. He'd been in our camp. He knew Shipley. He and Shipley were both in camp. They knew each other and, again, really liked each other, roommates, and support each other. And plenty of room for both of those guys. And they both recognize, we need them. I mean, to go out there and get 35 carries every game is you don't really see that anymore. It's good to be able to have a 1-2 punch where you got guys that you can play in any situation. And but Maffa just knew what he wanted to do, and he's doing it.
You mentioned earlier about some teams maybe losing earlier and people kind of forget about it as the season goes on. Just how do you kind of think it should be viewed as far as how you're playing towards the end of the year versus kind of how the total body of work?
I think you always got to look at the totality of it. I just think it's just kind of more. It's natural to, when you lose a game late, there's just more. You've kind of forgotten about all that other stuff, because you've moved on. If you're playing well, you've kind of been forgiven. But when you lose one late, man, you're on the cross immediately, and you're not as, so you better get back at it and play well. And things have to happen and stuff. But I think at the end of the day, that's why they have a committee to look at the totality of what teams do. And some of these teams that everybody says is great early, they stink. Some of these teams that they say aren't going to be very good, man, they're great. They have great years. That's why I don't ever pay attention to any of the preseason stuff. I mean, and nobody ever does. I mean, everybody makes a big deal about all the preseason stuff and the hype, and everybody gets propped up, and then some of these teams you never hear from them again. So that's why they remember November. It's tougher. It's tougher when you lose a game late. But man, it's hard to be 9-1. Whether you, how many 9-1 teams are there? 4, maybe. 4 undefeated teams, 4 9-1 teams. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to win. It's hard to win. You don't ever want to lose, but just human nature. When you lose one late, you just, people look at it differently.
Miami's other 2 quarterbacks aren't exactly dual threats. What was your reaction when you turned on the Georgia Tech film and saw that guy?
Yeah, I mean, they move okay. I mean, Garcia and Van Dyke, they move better than you think they do. But yeah, he's very different. He's big. They're all got size, but he's 6'4", 200-something pounds. But they had a lot of quarterback design runs, not necessarily just some zone read, just some actual design quarterback run stuff that they did with him. And then he scrambled around, made some big plays, broke containment a couple times. Got down the sideline one time. And really, you saw his long speed. He's got some long speed. He's not like Malik, 0 to 100 in 3 seconds, but he can really run. Especially when you, and he's bigger. He's a big dude. So he was a good spark for him. So just, again, we've played a lot of quarterbacks this year. I mean, we've played a lot of guys, a lot of them. I mean, you come into this season and you got to go beat Sims in the opener at their place. You got to beat Hartman at his place. That's a great player, and it's a tough out. And we were the first loss for a lot of these teams. And then you got to beat Leary, who's a tough player. You got to go beat Travis. You got to beat Jerkovic. I mean, it's like every week you look up, you're playing a quarterback. You got to go beat Malik. We've played some guys for sure. So we've seen a little bit of everything across the board, and
When
we'll be ready.
you face a program that's got a new head coach, new staff, how much, as you watch from week to week their game film and your guys study, you're just seeing them trying things. And
Yep.
what does that do in terms of your preparation?
I mean, all you can do is study the tape, and they again, it's a. I mean, Mario's trying to build a program. I mean, I think building the program right now is probably that's his number one priority, as opposed to what their record is this year. Obviously they want to win every game, but it's probably the most important thing for him. And so there's probably some decisions that you have to make, especially in that first year, that might affect a game here or there. And then when you take over a job, you kind of are where you are, personnel-wise, culturally, discipline, whatever. And you don't just wave a wand and do it. And so he's proven to be very successful in building a program. And I'm sure he wished he could have come out and be 10-0 right now. But man, they got players, and I think you see the progression of just what they're trying to do within their program. And they got Dan Radakovich, got the fighting Radakoviches coming in here this week. So he's got a great AD that knows what it looks like as well, and Mario knows what it looks like. I mean, he's incredibly successful at Alabama, a lot of success at Oregon. So they've got a great staff, but I think that when you watch them in totality, I mean, yeah, you see a lot of different things as they're trying to just take their personnel and win that week. But, at the end of the day, that's all you can go on. And they've had some injuries, had some key guys that got hurt, lost 2 starters in the offensive line. And again, just the situation at quarterback has been a challenge for them. But make no mistake, this is a team. They got some dudes now. They can get off the bus with anybody. I promise you. They are long. They can run. They're physical, and an incredibly athletic group.
I guess you brought this up yesterday, obviously with Tony in Virginia, that just the right guy. You feel like to be there.
Yep.
What from your experience with Tony makes you?
Well, I mean, just how he's been equipped through his life. I mean, he's dealt with a lot in his life. He's incredibly smart. He's a strong man of faith. Tony's one of the best people I know, and I mean, he's one of those. There's not many people you trust your life with. He's one of them, and I just know that God's put him there, for this time, and nobody wants to be in a situation like this. But again, he's all the things that he's been through in his life and the challenges that he's been through. He will do as good a job as anybody could possibly do in nurturing these guys and putting his arms around the Virginia family and just making sure that these young men grieve and can process things and move forward with their lives. And I don't have any doubt about that. And again, that doesn't. I mean, this is about as tough a situation as you can be in as a coach. But like I said, just knowing who he is, knowing how he's been shaped in his life and his faith. I'm glad he's there for those kids. I'm glad he's there for that community and for the families. Because again, he's special.
Any questions for Coach from Zoom?
Hey, Dabo. Adam. I know it might be cliche to ask about the screen game, especially when the run game is working so well right now, but just I think Coach Streeter mentioned maybe perimeter blocking, not where it needed to be at times. And was that maybe the next step in the screen game, or is it a combination of things?
I'd say just consistency in the perimeter blocking. We had some nice stretches where we've done a good job, and and had a couple last week that we did not we didn't win our matchup. So just a little more consistency there is the main thing. And but we've had some big ones. We've had some big plays, throughout the year. But it's never all perfect. You're always working to get better. From week to week for sure.
Hey, Coach Scott from Greenville. Look, Miami is not what it used to be, but in your perception, are they still, quote, the U, and are they still a team whose reputation precedes them?
No question. I mean, I got a lot of respect for Miami. I got a long history with these guys, all the way back to playing days. This is again, they've had some maybe not this type of seasons that they've wanted, but I think Mario's going to do a great job. Again, they've got a great staff. It's a beautiful university. They got as good a tradition out there. I mean, they've won, a bunch of championships over the years. So, my only concern is Saturday, and it only takes one good day, and these guys are capable of lining up and playing, with anybody on any given day. So, that's my focus is finding a way to win this week.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Appreciate it.